Joined here by former heavyweight boxer David Price. Big fight this weekend, David, at Wembley Stadium. Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte in front of 94,000 people. What are you expecting from this fight on Saturday, David?
I'm expecting excitement. You know, there's high anticipation for the fight because it's a fight that people have been waiting to see for a long time, and there was also obviously the doubt surrounding it because people were unsure whether Dillian Whyte was going to turn up for the fight. But it's happening. It's here. The weigh-ins today. It's on. So you know, it's exciting. I'm expecting it to be absorbing at least, but I can see it being a bit of a dirty fight. If I'm honest, I can see it being a bit of a dirty fight. I don't think Dillian Whyte's going to stand off Tyson Fury and just try and box him and let him have his way. So his way of getting into the fight is going to have to be to make things rough, and Tyson Fury's more than capable of being rough himself. So it could be a bit scrappy at times, but absorbing all the same, where you're not going to be able to take your eye off it because it's heavyweight boxing, and like I said, it's highly anticipated.
Definitely. And you mentioned there Tyson, and we've seen him adapt to so many different types of opponents. And in the open workout earlier in the week, he did all his open workout in the southpaw stance. I mean, what type of Tyson Fury do you think we can expect? And going in against Tyson Fury, like if you don't know what to expect Tyson to do, how do you prepare for something like that?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to prepare. You've got to review or explore all the avenues which he's capable of doing, which is the southpaw stance. It's the rough and ready approach, the Kronk style boxing, which he seems to have adapted more lately. You know, he can do pretty much everything. But I don't think he'll box southpaw against Dillian Whyte. I don't think he will. We haven't seen Fury box southpaw since, I think it might have been Chisora a few years ago. I mean, he will switch from time to time. The reason I don't think it'll be wise to box southpaw against Dillian Whyte is he's got the best left hook in the heavyweight division, probably, Dillian Whyte. Now, if Tyson Fury was to box southpaw, he's putting the target closer to the left hook. If he boxes orthodox, he's that side, the right hand side of his head and his chin is further away from Dillian Whyte, so and he can keep that right hand tucked up. Boxing southpaw, his right hand's probably going to be out in front of him, leaving it a bit exposed. I don't think he'll do that. But we'll see. He might have other plans, and he may well have seen something different where it will benefit him. But for me, I think he'll box orthodox. I think he'll come out and he'll box the way he did in the second Deontay Wilder fight. You know, weight on the back foot, touching him up with the jab and looking to unleash fast, powerful right hands. But we all know Dillian Whyte's no slouch, and he hasn't got into this position by accident. You know, he beat some top fighters. He's took a lot of risky fights along the way, considering the position he's been in, and he believes in himself. And you can see the respect that Tyson Fury got from him. You know, now it's come to fight week, and he's in the same room as him and sat at the same table. There's respect there because they've spent time with each other in the past, and he knows he's a real fighter, and you know he recognises that he's a real fighter, so the respect's there. But you know, as you know, in boxing, there doesn't have to be nasties before a fight for it to be a great fight. You know, the best of friends could get in the ring and produce the best fight you've ever seen. So I wouldn't look into that. You know, I think he recognises that Dillian Whyte's a real threat.
Definitely. And in terms of Tyson Fury as well, he's obviously undefeated as a professional. The only blemish on his record was that first Deontay Wilder fight, which was a draw. What chinks in the armour can you see in Tyson that Dillian may be able to exploit to be victorious in this bout?
Well, he can be knocked out like any other heavyweight because he could well have lost the first fight to Deontay Wilder by knockout if the referee decided to end the count, and a lot of other referees may well have, you know, and he was out. For some people have argued that he was out for the 10 seconds, but he rose like the Undertaker, didn't he, and done what he done. But that just shows that he's capable of being knocked out. He's capable of being put on his backside because it's happened multiple times in his career. But he gets up and finds a way to win. And he said it for years. He did say it, even when he was a kid, that he'd have to nail him to the floor. I think Brendan Ingle said it about him. He'd have to nail him to the floor to beat him, which is great for him because, you know, he's going to get quite a lot of confidence and belief from that. And for the opponent, it's also a little bit disencouraging because the thought, you know, this fella just keeps coming. You can put him on his backside for 9 and 3/4 seconds. He'll get up and keep coming and find a way to win. But I think, you know, I think what Dillian Whyte's plan will be to go to the body early with Tyson Fury. You know, he's the body snatcher, isn't he? And if he invests early with plenty of body punches, though, without leaving himself too exposed in the middle of going for it, you know, in the later rounds, you can see Fury maybe slow down, but we've yet to see that. We've yet to see Fury slow down, but no one in my memory has focused on the body exclusively. And I think Dillian Whyte may go down that route because he's not going to outbox him, despite having a good jab himself, a great jab, long arms. I don't think he's going to out-jab the master heavyweight boxer. So I think we could see him attack the body early and hope for you know, a bit of a war of attrition in the later rounds, like a bit of a rougher fight, like I was saying.
Definitely. And earlier you mentioned that Kronk style, and the one thing I've noticed since Tyson has joined up with Sugar Hill and Andy Lee as part of his training team is that added power that Tyson does throw with now. Do you think that could come into play?
Yeah, it could come into play, but it could come, you know, because it could throwing powerful punches is great if they're landing, but if you're throwing powerful punches and missing, it can expend energy. You know, a lot of Tyson Fury's fights where he's gone the distance, he hasn't really had to put much power into his punches. You know, so it's a matter of whether you're loading up or not and the intensity of the fight. So the Deontay Wilder fight in the last fight, he was putting powerless punches there and still managed to have the lungs and the engine to still have the power later on the round. So he'll be unleashing some big shots on Dillian Whyte. I think Dillian Whyte will likely lower his level in the fight at the height of his head, because rather than leaving his chin exposed, which Povetkin got and knocked him out cold, you know, if he's only leaving his top of his head and as a target, there's a lot less chance of getting knocked out by those big clubbing shots by Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury isn't really much of an uppercutter, so to speak. He doesn't throw big knockout uppercuts. You know, a lot of his shots are big jabs, big looping right hands, straight right hands. He's not really a bent arm puncher like maybe Anthony Joshua, who knocked Dillian Whyte out with an uppercut. Povetkin knocked Dillian out with a left uppercut because they got him on the chin. So if he takes that chin out to play and lowers his level, comes in low, going for the body, that sounds like a plan to me. But time will tell.
No, definitely. And getting your prediction now, do you think it is a fight that will go the distance, or do you think we could see it end early? And who do you think comes out victorious on Saturday night?
It could end early because it's heavyweight boxing and nothing should surprise us. It only takes one punch, you know. Both men can be put on the canvas, so I wouldn't bet against both of them going on the canvas. But my pick is going to be Tyson Fury to win on points. I think that's the safe bet for me. I think that's what I'm going to go with, Tyson Fury to win on points.
Definitely. And then obviously there's been stuff going on in Ukraine, which has delayed the Usyk Anthony Joshua fight. It's still a fight, hearing from both camps, that we are expecting to get later on this year. If that does happen, how do you see that one going?
I think it'll be similar to the last fight, unless Anthony Joshua loses the tentativeness which he may carry into the fight, because he's been beaten by Usyk before, and you know the commitment has got to be there with every punch, and he's got to bring the old Anthony Joshua back, the aggression back, instead of trying to outbox the boxer. You know, probably one of the pound for pound best boxers on the planet, but he knows that Usyk can hurt him, because he nearly hasn't stopped on his feet in the last fight. So there will be a degree of caution there from Anthony Joshua. But I've said it before, it's going to take someone who's a bit more unconventional than your original classic stand-up boxer who's been trained to compete in an Olympic Games. You know, like myself, the original textbook boxer, because Usyk is the master at that. It's going to take someone who can fight a bit dirty, do things a little bit different. That's why I just don't think AJ's got that in his arsenal. I don't really think that can be taught over the period of 12 months. You know, the likes of Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte, you know, come from an MMA background, been doing all that type of thing in his life. They've got it off to a T, the dirty fight. You probably see a lot of that on Saturday night. I think it's going to take something like that to upset Usyk and get him out of his comfort zone. Because if you're standing off boxing him, you just do that all night. So I think Usyk is the one for me again in that fight.
Definitely. And in the build-up to the fight on Saturday between Tyson and Dillian, Tyson has said this will be his last fight. You recently retired from boxing, David. Do you think Tyson will stick to his word, or do you think we could potentially see Tyson versus Usyk fight down the line to unified belts at some stage?
Yeah, I think if they both win and Usyk and Fury wins, I think he'll definitely want to unify the belts. But you do tend to find that, me personally, you know, after you've done a long training camp and you've been in boxing for a long time, you do start looking towards the exit, because it's tough. It's tough, and the time when you mostly do is at the end of the camp, when it's been that hard, you put that much time and commitment and effort into it. You know, he's hardly seen his family and his kids and all the sacrifices. It's at that time where you're like, don't really want to be doing this much longer, because it's so tough. But then you win a fight and you remember why you're doing it, and that drug's back then. That you got that drug back, which is why you're doing it. And you know, I think winning in front of that many people on Saturday night and such a big occasion, it'll either go, right, that's the icing on the cake, it doesn't get any better, or he'll go, well, I want more. And I think he'll likely want more, especially after a couple of months off. You know, when he's already stated how much his mental health relies on competing and training to fight. So I think we'll definitely see him again.
Yeah, definitely. And he has won the belts that Usyk holds at the moment. He has held them before as well when he beat Klitschko. A team that you support that could end up doing the unthinkable and winning the quadruple this season is Liverpool. First of all, the Merseyside derby this weekend as well. What are you expecting from that?
Liverpool at the minute have found the form at the best possible time. It's been like watching the last couple of games. Been like watching the Harlem Globetrotters. That midfield, Thiago, Fabinho, Keita. That seems to be like our best midfield for them games we've had in that period. And we're just too professional to take our eye off the ball. And obviously the derby's the derby. So they always say form goes out the window. I mean, it'd be a massive shock if it was anything but a Liverpool win, obviously. And because we've got so much to play for, as of Everton, and the momentum we've got, it's just, you know, it's a pleasing prospect for me, the derby on Sunday. It's one I'm looking forward to. Got so much confidence in this team, because you can see they've got it in themselves. We just don't want to get past the confidence where it becomes a little bit of arrogance, where it's too easy. Because we do have our moments. We start great, Liverpool. We get a couple of goals lead most of the time, and then we might take our eye off the ball a little bit, and it's a little bit too easy at times. But they're putting things to bed more a bit lately, like they did on Tuesday against Man United. Put it to bed early second half, and I think it's just going to be a comfortable win on Sunday.
And as well as Liverpool doing really well, does it give you that little bit of a smirk when you see how badly Everton are doing? And do you think Everton could get relegated this season as
I'm
well?
just with an Evertonian now, actually. But yeah, do you know what? I'd be lying if I said it weren't like multiplying the joy. But the season's not over. You know, Everton could come out of this season in their minds more successful than Liverpool, because if Liverpool don't win the quadruple and Everton stay up, that to them is a victory, I'd say. Even if we win 3 trophies. But no, it's not about Everton, to be honest. It's about Liverpool, and it's about enjoying this fantastic time while it's here, because nothing lasts forever. Everything comes in cycles in football. You know, you look at Man United now. They were Liverpool were for the majority of the 90s and the last decade. Now we're back to where we were, and we want to stay there. So we just enjoy that and enjoy Klopp while he's here, because what he's done has just been phenomenal. Football they're playing, the squad they've got, the team spirit that's there. It's just like it's these are the days type of thing. So we're enjoying that. And whatever happens to Everton happens. I mean, it'd be a shame for the city if they did get relegated on a you know, for the economy and everything else, and from a sporting point of view, it'd just be a shame. But you know, I'm just focusing on Liverpool and you know, going to all these finals, being involved in all these big games, and just a great time.
And we've got you, obviously, another big game next week, the Champions League semi-final against Villarreal. What are you expecting from that one? Villarreal, obviously, no one was really expecting them to get this far, but they've beaten Bayern Munich to get to the semis. What are you expecting from Villarreal?
But we've been Villarreal before. You know, in 2005, we were Villarreal. We were a well-organised team, no superstars in the team, but just a good manager, had the team well organised, committed, had a bit of luck along the way, but the unthinkable happened. So we know it can happen. We've been there. So we've got to be switched on for that, and not, like I said, not become complacent at all, because I just don't think Klopp would allow it, though. I just don't think he'd allow it. But anything can happen in football, you know, when it's over 2 legs. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, and I'm not looking. I wouldn't look past them. I'm not, definitely not. Like I said, well organised, good manager, and they work hard, and they deserve to be where they are. And you know, we've got to take it like every European Cup semi-final it is, and it's massive.
And of course, everyone is talking about this quadruple, and with every win, it's getting closer. Realistically, how many trophies do you think Liverpool will win come the end of the season?
4. All of them. Why not? I mean, look, the 9 games, like 7 games in the league left. I thought City looked tired against Brighton, even though they won. They got a bit luckier with the goals. I think last week it was wiped City out, them 3 games, the 2 Liverpool games and the Atletico game was like a 15-round heavyweight title fight. It battered them, and it's whether they can recover from the intensity of these games. I mean, obviously they're an unbelievable team, but they look a little bit jaded, where we seem to be getting better, especially off the back of beating City the way we did. I think our players' confidence is through the roof, and when you're feeling good and confident like that and winning, the energy's there. You don't have to try and find the energy to keep going, because it's there, and everything just seems to be coming together at the right time. So yeah, why not? Why not? We've come this far. The four. I'm going to say.
And like a lot of fans this time of the season, have you looked at the Premier League, the fixtures remaining in, and where it will be won and lost for Liverpool and Man City? Have you got that? Because I think Man City, the final game, they play Aston Villa as well. So Coutinho and Gerrard could do a big favour.
Definitely. I mean, there's a couple of draws along the way for each team. I think one of Liverpool's toughest games is going to be Newcastle away, because they're proper starting finding the form, starting to believe a little bit. They're getting momentum, and it's a tough place to go to when it's like that, Newcastle, with great atmosphere and a big fan base. You know, it's just about taking each game as it comes. But City have got Villa at home. trying to think who else on their fixture list. On paper, they've got the easier running, but they drew away to Crystal Palace. You know, they will drop more points. So I'm pretty certain, and as will Liverpool. But I'm just confident that we're gonna get over the line.
Well, definitely. Well, it's been a great pleasure speaking to you, David. As always, it's going to be a great sporting weekend for yourself with the boxing, and then with the Merseyside derby on Sunday. And hopefully speak to you soon.
Yeah, cheers, mate. See you later.
No problem. Enjoy it.
Mate.
Well, great to have the man himself, Frank Warren, alongside us on the Lightweight Boxing Show. We've seen the press conference now, Frank. It's always one of them, I suppose, with Tyson Fury. You never really know what you're going to get. But that was pure respect today.
Well, they're professional boxers, and that's how it should be. You know, the problem is some of these things happen when it's the people who are around them looking to make them thinking they're more important than the fighters and cause all the nonsense. No, it's good. He done what he had to do, and you know, it's Tyson for you. He's a true pro. Excuse me.
Frank, you've been involved in some of the biggest nights in British boxing history. Where does this rank? I know it's the biggest crowd. The biggest. It is the biggest. You know, it's the biggest in Europe. 94,000. I know I bore everybody with the statistics, but it's 94,000, and it's the highest grossing event, single day event they've ever had here for anything.
It looks something else when the sun's shining as well, doesn't it? I mean, if the weather is with you as well.
It shines down on the righteous, you know that.
And what about the fight itself? You say it's the biggest in Europe. It's the biggest ever in terms of British heavyweight boxing. Two Brits going head to head. Again, you know, everyone's talking about how it's going to pan out. You're not going to give us exactly what you think, but do you really think it's going to be the fight you said it would be in the press conference today?
I just don't see. It's not, you know, my opinion. Listen, I've got it wrong in the past, but my opinion is I can't see Dillian outboxing him. So he's got to take the fight to him. He's got to back him up. He's got to get under his jab. The problem is he's dealing with a guy who's a bit of an enigma as far as boxing concerned. You know, Tyson's one fighter. He can fight going backwards, forwards, sideways. He's got a great boxing brain. But when you've got two big guys in there like that, and Dillian does carry power, anything can happen.
Frank, I know Tyson says a lot of things, but he comes through Saturday like you believe. Do you believe it's the last time we'll see him in the ring, or do we just not know?
To be honest, it's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know, he's his own man, and whatever he decides to do, I'll support him wholeheartedly. Yeah. I mean, as a fighter, and you know better than anybody, you don't want to be getting into the ring if your heart's not in it. That's when you start getting hurt. So if he feels that's how it is, then God bless him, and he'll do whatever he's going to do afterwards.
Are you glad now that, you know, there was a lot said in the build-up with you having conversations, if that's the right word, with Dillian's people and this, that and the other, and no shows? Are you just happy we're at this stage now? Both men have looked eye to eye, and you're here at Wembley Stadium.
Absolutely. You know, that's what everybody's been waiting for. You've been waiting for it. The public, they bought into an event. You guys have got to have somebody to talk to. You've got something to talk about. And if you're not getting the other side of the story, then it's not good. And he does himself a disservice. You know, he did that interview on BT, and he came across and he was talking about himself, where he's come from, and that's what the public wants to know. They want to know where he comes from, what his story is. And you know, this is a massive platform for him. Anything, as I say, can happen in boxing, and it could be a Cinderella story for him.
Well, listen, I know you've been a bit under the weather, so thanks for talking to us, Frank. Enjoy the occasion. Thank you very much.
All the best.